And with that, I can bring back the moderator so we can kind of field some questions and go from there. Thank you. I see a question. Oh, how long does the average certificate last before renewing? It depends on the certification body. I believe like the ISACA certification cycle every 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. So you have to continuously get continuing education credit, CPEs, to keep it active. So definitely, that makes you stay engaged within, your education knowledge, like the continuous learning aspect of it. Because if you don't submit those and they can audit the certification within a certain time frame, if you cannot provide justification and validation of those continuous education credits, you might lose your certification. You might have to retake the exam. So the way I see it is like that one time you took the exam was hard enough. Why put yourself in a position to having to retake the exam for that certification if you want to keep it? Um, yes. Do you believe? Let's see. How much does a certification cost when you have to renew? Like I said, it's one of those things depending on certification body. The amount of money, the amount of what is the expense would depend on how many certifications you have with that governing body. Do you only have one? Do you have multiple? So that's on a case by case basis, but there's money involved. I mean, it is expensive. It can get expensive, and that's why there's a lot of different theories or mindsets about certifications, about being a business, and it is a business, but at the same time that business is in the business of helping you advance your career. So you kind of have to take both and kind of evaluate them, balance them out to make the most effective use for you as you continue your journey. Okay. What are some of the most popular certifications in the early cybersecurity student? Okay, like I mentioned, the CC, the ISC Square TC, Certified Cybersecurity. It was originally tailored for high school students that are going into the field of cybersecurity, studying cybersecurity programs in academia. So that's definitely a good one to start with. Security Plus, like I mentioned earlier, set the groundwork from a technical perspective. And then obviously, if you're going to go into the GRC side of it, look at CISA, but kind of get your feet wet a couple years in the field doing the work before actually looking at that one. That's what I did. Like I said, it literally took me 10 years as I started my work to actually get my first certification, which was the CISA. I'm starting off my journey in cybersecurity. What are the best ways to connect and get mentorship? Um, you know, Connect with your local ISACA chapters, your local ISC Square chapters. Connect on LinkedIn. There's communities of interest. Raíces Cyber. If you're if you're of Latin American descent, Mexican American, like I am, first generation college graduate. Spanish was my first language. It was not English, right? So Raíces Cyber Insecurity with Neil Bridges, great organizations, great places to network, to meet people, to ask for mentorship, to ask for resume reviews, get help, learn about jobs, learn about all the things that are happening within cyber. So that's definitely a good starting place right there. So how can you have an internship, a mentor? Reach out. Like I said, probably reach out to your local ISACA chapters. They have student membership fees, so it's really meant to be cheaper than most advanced professional membership dues. And then once you start that, you can see if they have a mentorship program already embedded within the ISACA chapters, to see if you can get plugged in. Evaluate internships, Google's internships for those organizations. Internships are interesting. I didn't have one when I started my career, didn't and I didn't have one when I went to school either. So I understand that now internships are predominant in the environment. It's really good to get to get an internship in this space. A lot of organizations have a particular time frame that they issue out the internships. So some are year round, but some are bounded by time. So time might be the timing might be an issue, but it doesn't cost anything for you to search and keep your options open, right? There's internships depending on the vertical and the sector you want to work in. Healthcare, finance, state government, you name it. There's internships all over the map. Do you believe having a variety of certifications on a resume have one standout in selection process? Um, that's a good question. Like I mentioned, they have to make sense, right? I mean, if you're applying to offensive security certification, I mean, role, I would like to see OSCP. I probably would like to see like GCIH, more offensive security certifications. But if they're not there, and they're you're not going to be able to have that stand out from that process, right? From that perspective. And I think Jeff Wright, Jeff Rich mentioned it earlier this morning. Look at certifications that are going to be tailored to the job. Focus on those, and that's going to give you a leg up of, especially if it's a minimum viable requirement, right? A minimum requirement on the job description that you need to have that certification. Some job requirements give you the option to, they'll assess it, they'll give you a chance, if they do give you the role, for you to get that certification within a year or 6 months, depending on the timing. But that's a little bit of a pressure, right? Because the clock starts ticking, and you really have to, you know, um, think about, making sure that you need to do what you need to do to pass it at that point. So I definitely would not recommend putting yourself in that spot, but it is a possibility depending on the job, depending on the situation. But it's better to come prepared than not come prepared at all, right? So yes. How would you say GRC might be a good entry level position? Yeah, I mean, it's the reason everyone kind of parallels GRC with entry level is because it's not that technical or that technical centric, but you still need to know the foundations, know the basics. All the leaders that I know in this space, from application security leaders, offensive security leaders, cyber threat, operators, they want to talk to someone that can understand the basics. If you're in GRC and cannot understand what a DLP is, what a rule is, what a firewall rule is, what a alert is, if you're gonna have a deer in a headlights look when they ask you that, you're not gonna get that buy-in. You're not gonna get that rapport with those cybersecurity teams on the offensive side. So it's good to have an entry level component to the GRC, but you still need to know the foundational concepts and background to come in to an organization. That's how it works. You mentioned continuing education. How does it overlap for all the certification bodies? Does public speaking and conferences count, or is it mostly lab? No, they all count. So if like ISACA has like a huge drop down of different options that can give you CPEs, from speaking opportunities, from volunteer opportunities, labs as well. In ISACA build training will also give you training hours as well. Third party training will also give you hours of. So yeah, there's a lot of different things you can take advantage of. So it's definitely not just labs. There's a lot of different things you can do to get continuing education credits in place.